Happy to be joined by the newest member of the UFC's bantamweight roster, Javid Basharat, who's coming off a really impressive win on Dana White's Contender Series this past Tuesday. Javid, how are you, sir?
I'm great, thank you. I'm great. Couldn't be better.
UFC bantamweight fighter. Has that sunk in yet? You know, just the fact that you're in the UFC now.
Yeah, it hits me here and there. You know, I'm like, shit, man. I'm in the UFC. Like, but again, like it's been a long road. But I expected this. You know, like I expected it, and I expected to get the contract.
It
But
was.
still, great.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I said, but it still feels great.
Yeah, no, I bet for sure. Obviously, your fight was one of the ones that people sort of kept an eye on, but it sort of added a little bit more for the fact that your opponent obviously missing weight, and he made the comment he did. We don't need to repeat what he said there, but you know, I know you spoke about in another interview about how you had tunnel vision sort of going into the fight. It didn't matter what your opponent had said to you. I was curious where that came from. Is that something you had in your upbringing, or is that something you've always sort of done with your fights?
Well, yeah. So I'm a immigrant. So like, you think I haven't been called these names before? You know what I mean? Like I've been called like you know you learn how to deal with it. And two, these emotions you can't go into a fight with these type of emotions. They just don't have a place in fighting. You know, you can't your plan can't be deterred by what your opponent says. You know, if it was that easy, then the fight would go their way, and that can't run. You know.
Yeah, no, I
So
completely agree.
yeah, and I have a younger brother, and like my friends, I'm always going back and forth with them, arguing and having a bit of banter. So I'm used to it, you know. Like it's okay. It doesn't wind me up as much. But it was more so to teach him a lesson and to show people like this has no place in sport or like any. You can't, as a human, you can't talk like that. You know, people don't choose where they're from, and one group doesn't um, determine another person's life. You know, like.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. Were you surprised to hear him say that? Just because that's not something. I mean, you guys are fighting for a UFC contract. To go to that level seems so, just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, you saw my face at the weigh and I was like, "What? I can't believe he said it." I looked like so I faced this way, like just to face the camera, and then I looked I was like, did I hear that correctly?" And then I told Sean, like, "You heard it, not me." Like I didn't say nothing. Like, I'm gonna act like I didn't hear it, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely crazy what sort of happened there. But I think if you want to take a positive out of this whole thing, this really got a lot of eyeballs on the fight because a lot of people wanted to see you beat him and teach him a lesson, like you sort of said there. How overwhelming was the response sort of leading into the fight? Just the amount of people who were, wanting to see you beat this guy up because of what he said.
It was amazing, and like I said, like it just shows that this sport doesn't need people like that. People do not like this. We are all from different backgrounds. Everybody has training partners and friends, and they're all integrated from different parts of the world, and they train together and they get along with no problem whatsoever. So for this guy to say that, it got backlash, but like got some backlash. But the thing was, it was not as much. I didn't get as much support as I did after the fight. I
Mhm.
got so much more after the fight than I did after the weigh-in because of the manner I beat him in. You know,
Yeah.
and I went in there, and maybe it was a bit immature from my point, but at the same time, I knew I was quite in control there. I knew what I was doing. It was I beat him up for 14 minutes. My plan was to beat the crap out of him 14 minutes. I could have got the finish when I wanted. I could have finished him in round one. But when I saw, okay, his resistance has gone, and there's no way he can come back into the fight. As long as I don't do anything stupid, I've overwhelmed this guy, and I can just finish him when I want. And then when I saw that, if you see me in the fight, I keep looking up at the clock, keep looking up at the clock to see like when the minute mark is gonna come, and then I just jump, like I did some damage, and I jumped on it, and I got the submission, got the finish.
That's incredible. That was something I was going to ask you. Actually, it kind of looked like that you were, you just really wanted to make, you wanted to punish him, so to speak, right, in the fight, as opposed to, going out there and doing it quickly. I'm guessing that wasn't the initial game plan prior to the weigh-ins, right? You probably wanted to get in and get out of there because you don't get paid by the hour.
Exactly, exactly. So usually it's like, let me finish him, like whenever I can, whatever he gives me. And to be honest, I could have finished him in that first. I could have even finished him in the second. In the second, I tried to slow his pace down a little bit, just uh, control him a bit more. Like any little thing that he has left, let me get rid of that. Because he didn't
Yeah,
have much left after the first. I was like, if he has even a little bit, let me just get rid of that. And in the third, we go to work.
that's
And we just
amazing. Was there anything at all that surprised you in the fight, or was it pretty much everything you expected heading in?
But one thing did surprise me. I'm not going to lie to you. Was I thought this guy was the most quiet person I have ever come across. I couldn't hear him. Like I was speaking to him, and I thought he would have had a lot to say, but man, I couldn't hear anything. He couldn't say. He didn't have anything else to say. So that was surprising.
You get the UFC contract. Pretty much expected, I think, with that performance, that how dominant you were in the fight, and especially getting the finish. When you finally heard they had said UFC contract that you had gotten in from Dana White, what's going through your head? Because I know it was a lot of time and a lot of hard work put into this career to get to this point.
It was like a relief. That's the best way to describe it. I was like, oh, yes. I came to Vegas on a mission to get my contract, and it's just great. You know, when you have a goal in mind, and then it comes like not even how you imagined it. It was better than how I imagined it, with all this drama and then how the fight played out and how impressed Dana was. It was just such relief, you know, such relief. And I knew I just need these guys to just see me. They just need to know about me, and they're gonna love me. And I knew that was gonna be the case.
How did you celebrate after the victory?
So I had a lot of lamb.
Yeah,
I went,
nice.
yeah, I had a lot of lamb with my friends, and my brother and my team, and we just all sit, kicked back, and we just chilled. And I managed to not get any sleep that night because the time zone is different in the UK. So I was just people calling me and stuff. I was just talking back home to my family and stuff. So yeah.
You mentioned it there earlier, the feedback after the fight. I know you got a lot of it. I know if we went through everyone who had commented on your Instagram, because I even had a look and saw some of the names on there, some of the, Bilal Muhammad. You had just so many fighters come out in support of you, not only, winning the fight the way you did, but also sort of teaching this guy a lesson. Was there one name on there you weren't expecting? Maybe a pretty famous or notable person that you're like, wow, I didn't even know they saw the fight. And anything like that? Do you have a moment like that at all?
Nah, like anyone with any sort of name, uh, I was kind of like surprised by all of them, to be honest. Like surprised but not surprised. I knew there would be eyes on this fight, but still, like to see like, oh shit, man, they're watching it, and they were saying, oh, great job, like they were a fan, and I was like, oh shit, this is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah. Was there one compliment that maybe stood out, something that someone said or anything like that come to mind? Again, I know this is you looking
Yeah,
through, hundreds of messages, but
one did actually. Yves Edwards, Thug Jitsu. He wrote like, I hope you pulverize his face or whatever. And then I said, because I'm a big fan of Yves Edwards, and then I sent him the video. Like I said, the most satisfying video on the internet. I sent him that video, and I go, I think I did a good job. And he goes, and he just laughed, and he said, yeah, man, you did a great job. You really did show him a lesson, and that was kind of cool, you know.
that's awesome. That's really cool. And specifically the Muslim fans as well. That must have been overwhelming as well, because we know there's a huge fan base there, and they were. I mean, even leading into this fight, before all this happened, I saw a lot of support from them. Heading into this fight.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm always like, they're my brothers, my brothers and sisters. So like I'm very happy with their support and stuff. But one thing I like to address as well, like I don't really appreciate so much, is if you see what my Instagram or any social media or whatever, not once I mentioned Israel. You know, I wanted to make it clear that this is not a thing. Like not every, like, yeah, it was good that, because this guy was probably a racist. He probably does think like that. Like, well, he was. He said it.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. He's not the identity for the whole nation. Like he doesn't. Like there was Israeli people messaging me too, saying like, "Oh man, we're so happy you beat the crap out of this guy and this and that's pretty cool." So the racism, like, let's just leave it out, man. Just because one person's racist to you, you don't have to be racist back to them.
Exactly.
So
Can't lump everyone together. I think that's a great point. Yeah, because we do see that when people sort of jump to conclusions. So that's a very good point on your part. So that's
exactly.
awesome. Two more quick questions, because I know you got to get out of here. When are you looking to get back in the cage? Obviously, you're still in Vegas. I imagine you're going to be heading back to the UK pretty soon.
No, I'm trying to base out in Vegas now, to be honest.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
This is where I want to do my training. I'm with Jake Shields, with all these guys. I've got all the best training partners in the world in Vegas, and the PI is amazing. You know, I'm just trying to stay out here basically now, move my career here. This is where I need to take it to the next level. You know, I don't want to be at any disadvantage, and if I'm not here, I feel like it's going to be a disadvantage.
Is your brother going to be staying with you as well?
Yeah, of course, of course. My brother's my main coach, my everything. So, and he's a terrific fighter. He's my main sparring partner. He's a very, very good fighter. And to be honest, you're going to see some great things from him too.
That's awesome. And last question, anyone you got in mind for your debut? I mean, I know obviously you're just getting in the UFC, but let's put it this way. I mean, because, people are always like, you don't want to call someone out, but is there a fun matchup that you kind of see on paper? You're like, that would be a fun fight out of any of the opponents on the roster?
The mad thing is like now with all this like recognition, I don't think I need to be calling anyone out. Like I think people are going to be calling me out, if anything.
Mhm.
But one guy actually, because I heard him say like, oh, he doesn't want to fight ranked fighters and stuff for the amount he's getting paid, and that's Sean O'Malley, and I think that's gonna be a crazy good fight, for the fans. I think it's an easy fight for me, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you right now, but that's my opinion. But at the same time, it's a great matchup. I think people would love to see it. Two strikers that can strike, uh, two new age guys. It would determine like what the future of the division's like.
Yeah.
So somebody.
I'd love to see that fight. And again, congratulations on the victory. What a performance that was. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Yes, there's a lot of people. So Tarek Aziz, Jake Shields, my brother Farid, Amir Albazi, Dean Kirk for my nutrition, Andrew Tauchi, my wrestling coach, Legacy Management, Paradigm Sports, Legacy Fit, the gym I was training at. All of these guys. I hope I didn't miss out anyone else. But I'm just grateful, man. There's a lot of people on this journey, man, been helping me, and I'm good, man. I'm in a good place right now.